Welcome to EdScoop TV. I'm Wyatt Kash, and I'm here today with Barbara Soots. Barbara is the Open Education Resources Program Manager at the state of Washington, and particularly the Washington Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. So we're at the State Education Technology Directors Association's annual Leadership Summit, and I know we've been talking about a variety of topics, but open resources is one that I know is near and dear to your heart.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little about what you're seeing in the evolution of open resources in the state of Washington and maybe more generally among your peers.
Yeah, I think as people first come in contact with open resources, it's really more as a consumer of kind of small grain size pieces of material. And as they become more familiar with the potential of openly licensed resources, I think more districts are looking at developing more comprehensive courses that are aligned to the state learning standards using open educational resources.
Terrific. Tell me a little more about how your state looks at balancing traditional education materials and open resources. What do you help your teachers do in the way of finding the materials, whether to use the materials, how well qualified the materials are? There's certainly a lot out there. How do you help them?
Yeah, it is. It can be overwhelming at times, and so our stand has certainly been to let school districts know that there's a large new ecosystem of materials that includes print and digital resources. It includes materials that are openly licensed and that carry all rights reserved copyright only. And regardless of that, the standard for quality should be the same, and the ideal that it is aligned to state learning standards should be the same, regardless of the delivery platform or the license that's on the material. So we've been doing a lot of work with outreach to districts and just really helping them understand that there are rubrics out there, and also trying to point them in the direction of some recognized OER repositories. And we've done a substantial amount of review of open resources as well, and made those results available to the public on our website as a kind of consumer reports style guide to open resources.
Talk a little more about that. Obviously, it takes a lot of work for teachers to see what's out there, to see if they sort of match the standards in the rubric. What has your state done to simplify that process? Are you recommending a couple of repositories in particular? Do you have a team that helps do vetting ahead of time so teachers don't have to do all the legwork themselves? How does that work?
We've done, we started embarking on that review work, and we've done a review cycle for the last 3 years. So we pulled teachers together from all across the state, representing different geographies and different size school districts, to use rubrics that are recommended for traditional instructional materials as well, and to sit down in a 4-week process and review materials and post those results. And we recommend that certainly as a starting point for districts that are looking materials, that they can go there, and if they can't find the exact resource they're looking for, they can at least find developers that are working in that space that they might want to check out in a little bit more detail. On that site, we also have links to just kind of recommended sites for looking at different types of resources. And we really want to clarify that it is important that the districts assess their needs ahead of time, so they know if they're looking for supplemental type resources to fill gaps in their curriculum, or if they're looking for a full course, because the places where you look for those resources varies.
And how do you work with other states to see what they're doing and sharing, because obviously a lot of states are probably going through the same exercise?
Yeah, as part of Go Open, certainly the federal initiative to encourage states to take a look at open educational resources, we've certainly been able to interact with a lot of different states that are kind of embarking on this same work. And at conferences like this, SETDA is a great convener of folks that are all kind of interested in this topic as well. So it's a good opportunity.
Well, in your conversations, what did you hear here that you'll take away and go back to your state to kind of look at advancing your efforts on open resources?
Yeah, certainly some great examples of good work that's being done in other districts across the country. Some good examples of how to involve teachers in the work, and certainly a reiteration of the idea that you really need to pull together a team of folks to look at these resources that includes educational technology, as well as curriculum experts, as well as teacher librarians that are experts in curation of content and administrators. So I think it's important to remember that we really need all those different lenses looking at the instructional materials.
And then obviously your state, like many, has small districts, large districts. How do you kind of help tailor those efforts for the different needs at different schools?
Yeah, we have an OER grantee program. So it's a competitive grant. It's a small grant, but we certainly encourage districts of all size to apply, and the recipients have been districts of all sizes. We have one nice example of a collaboration of small school districts that pulled together to essentially create a large professional learning community of smaller districts. And that was a really good way to kind of spread the word to that group of districts that open resources could be an effective method of reaching their students.
Well, terrific. And finally, there were a lot of other ideas shared here at the Leadership Summit. What one or two innovative ideas, if not directly in open resources, but just more broadly about digital learning that piqued your interest and that you'll be thinking about more when you go back?
Yeah, I think just certainly hearing from some of the other states that are doing good work in this area. I know that I'll be reaching out to them to both share resources that we have that they might be interested, and also to kind of solicit resources from them so that we can add it to our pool of our toolkit of information that we hand out to districts.
Well, Barbara Soots, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you sharing some of the things that you're working on. I'm Wyatt Kash with EdScoop TV. Thanks for being with us, and look for more of our coverage on edscoop.com.